As you may know from my Eastern Conference ranking video, I am a Miami Heat fan. If you haven't seen that video, go check it out. I'll leave it in the description. I want to talk about the Miami Heat on this upcoming season and what we haven't done and what we could have done and what could happen. But first, before I talk about the upcoming season, let's have a look at last season and our issues and our problems. Now, the first thing I wanted to touch on was our lack of offense last season. We really struggled to even score above 100 points. We had about like 18 games or so without 100 points scored from our team. We even had an overtime game that went to 96 points, which is just crazy. But we had a lack of offense, whether that was a Tyler Hero off night, a Jimmy Butler was just not good offensively this season. A Jimmy off night really affected us this season. Like Jimmy, if you have a look here, 20 points a game compared to last season, 22 points a game, 10th in MVP, NBA second team. Coming off that season, you would think that he would progress even further. He also played less games this season. He played 4 less games. So this is one of the talking points of the many about last year's Miami Heat and this year's Miami Heat. All revolves around this man right here. He's a great player. Everyone knows that. He's a fantastic player when it comes to the playoffs, which we didn't see that as much last season, but we didn't really have a run. There's rumors out there. I'll get into them soon, but I want to just keep touching on the offensive struggles about the team. Obviously, Jimmy Butler had his struggles. We know that. We've touched over. See, as a team last season, we shot 37% from 3, which is quite bad. Miami Heat, we don't have the greatest of 3-point shooters. We've obviously got Duncan Robinson who can catch it off the screen and pop that when he wants to. We've got Tyler Hero who can be really good at times, but then be really bad at times and just go completely cold. He doesn't have that middle ground of just being good for a consistent amount of time. We've got Jimmy Butler who, look, he's sometimes really good at threes, but at a low rate. Bam Adebayo, who we saw in the Olympics, he was shooting those threes, which is really promising, but he also did that last offseason. But what I want to really touch on now is how, in the offseason, how did we help our team gain more offense? Well, I'm going to show you. We didn't help our offense at all, really. This is what we did on our offseason. Obviously, we drafted Ware. Obviously, we signed Thomas Bryant, Alec Burks. I mean, Alec Burks does help our offense a little bit, but again, just another old player on a small contract. We're not really trying to improve it drastically. We re-signed Kevin Love to a multi-year contract. I'm not sure. Anyway, waived Orlando Robinson. We re-signed Haywood Highsmith on a multi-year. He's a great defender. We signed Josh Christopher to a 2-way. And we just recently signed Nazir Little. Now, I want to talk about Nazir Little because this is the biggest thing we've done in the offseason, is sign Nazir Little. Nazir Little last season played 45 games and started 2 of them. He only played 10 minutes a game, scored 3 points, obviously, if you're playing 2 minutes a game. He was on the Phoenix Suns last season, so he wouldn't have got much playing time against Durant and all them. Shot 30% from 3, 46% from the field. If this is our best player we've gotten from this offseason, it's worrying. It is really worrying. Our depth is nowhere near what it was on our Lakers run and our Nuggets run, where we got bid as well. This is the worst team we've had in the last 5 years because of age, because of lack of depth, because of all that, because of lack of 3-point, lack of offense, all of it. We're lacking everything. We don't have any picks. We've got nothing to really use. Let's look at our depth chart, right? Forgive me for the double ups of names. It's ESPN's website, not me, okay? Now, what ESPN is projecting our lineup to be is Terry, Tyler, Jimmy, Nikola, and Bam. I think that is a solid lineup. Now, we don't know how these two are going to pair up against each other, Tyler and Terry, because we didn't see enough. I think Tyler got injured for a little bit, came back, and then Terry got injured. So we haven't really seen it. Our team and injuries, we get injured all the time. There's always injuries on our team. For the last 5 seasons, we've had injury problems. Nikola Jovic is a good player. My personal opinion, I think we should be starting Jaime, but I guess having Jaime off the bench gives us some depth with the bench unit, and then Bam. Now, if the bench we're running Alec Burks, Josh Richardson, Hame, Ware, and Duncan. I'm going to put Duncan in there. I mean, the second lineup is okay. If Duncan plays a good game, it's good. Alec Burks, I don't really know much about Alec Burks. Let me learn on the fly. Alec Burks last season in Detroit was 12 a game on 39% from the field and 40% from 3, which I guess is pretty good. 40% from 3, but he'll come off the bench. And if he can average 12 off the bench for the Heat, that is perfect. That's great. Now quickly, I think I touched on it a little bit at the start of the video, but I just want to talk about some trade rumors and some things that the Miami Heat has been put into. Obviously there is the fair few Jimmy rumors, all depending on how he looks at this season. If Jimmy goes into this season wanting to prove a point to get that extension, all is well. But then we have to think, this is a 35-year-old. If we sign him into extension, I think his contract will go to his 38. And by that time, he would have regressed, and he won't be the player that he is today. I don't know if it's the right thing to do to re-sign him or trade him now while he's good. If we trade him now, there's not many places that he can go. That's our problem. I think what we're linked to is a Brandon Ingram trade. But we're always linked to these big name trades. We were linked to Damian Lillard. We were linked to Trae Young. We're linked to Donovan Mitchell. We're always linked to trades, but we don't do anything. I feel like if we let Jimmy walk, this team is dead in the water. Without Jimmy Butler on this team, we have Bam Adebayo, Tyler Hero, and Jaime August. We may as well be the Detroit Pistons with the lack of oomph offensively that team has. That is just a bunch of off nights. Jimmy Butler, if the ball isn't in Jimmy Butler's hands and he's playing well, then this team is nothing, if I'm being honest. We need some firepower. That's all we're asking for. I've been rambling for a little bit now, for a good 15 minutes. But in recap, I think our chances at a championship run, not a championship run, a title run, is slim to none this season. I feel like, not last season, season before, that Cinderella run was just insane. We shouldn't have been there. We should have learnt from last season to not run it back again. We just keep running it back because we're like, cool, we'll start as the 8th seed and we'll make it to the finals. But by that time we get to the finals, they're just all tired. All of them are tired. So I feel like we need to just not rebuild, but just re-establish what our future will be at the team. I feel like we're just in a spot that we don't know. We don't know if we want Jimmy to stay. We don't want Jimmy to go. We don't know if we want Bam as the face of the franchise or is it Jimmy. The team doesn't feel like they know what they want, which is horrible because the season is less than a month away and we've done nothing apart from sign Nassir Little. Sorry for the ramble. I needed to get this out. I've been thinking about this Heat team for the last week, being like, wow, we just aren't doing anything. I see nothing apart from rumors of Jimmy Butler going somewhere else and us not getting anything. But yeah, like, subscribe, all that stuff.